Hey guys, welcome to Best Movie Recap. Today I am going to explain a 2022 American action movie called The Batman. Warning. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Today's movie starts in Gotham City during the Halloween. A man spies on the apartment of the mayor Donald Mitchell Jr., who was watching a debate between himself and his opponent, Bella Real, who wants to stop the Gotham renewal program that Mitchell benefits from. Meanwhile, a masked man known as the Riddler sneaks up on Mitchell and bludgeons him with a weapon that looks like a hammer until he died. Then he pulls up a duct tape and starts to wrap it around Mitchell's head and cuts his thumb. On the other side, Bruce Wayne narrates how he has spent the last 2 years as Batman seeking out criminals in Gotham City. While working with the police department, he also has gotten the bat signal as a means to warn crooks that Batman is coming for them. Bruce as Batman stalks a gang of thugs with clown makeup as they follow a man off the subway and harass him. Before they can beat him up, Batman shows up from the shadows and begins to pummel the thugs as he declares, "I'm vengeance." After a quick fight, he manages to beat most of them, while the rest of the thugs escape. Batman sees his signal in the sky, then he joins Lieutenant James Gordon at Mitchell's apartment to investigate his murder. The Riddler left a card addressed for the Batman, along with a card containing a riddle and a cipher. What does a liar do when he's dead? At this moment, Commissioner Pete Savage comes in to chew Gordon out for allowing Batman to be involved in the investigation, even though the Riddler intended for Batman to be there. Batman sees the evidence and determines that the answer to the riddle is he lies still. Bruce returns to the Wayne Terminal, the Batcave, where he writes a diary of what happened to him. Then he sees a news reporter talking about the mayor's crime and revealing that Bruce's parents died on the same day 20 years ago. Meanwhile, his butler Alfred Pennyworth joins him and tells him to take care of his family legacy before it vanishes, but Bruce refuses and focuses on the investigation. The next day, Bruce gets help from Alfred in finding a code within the cipher that leads them to find the word drive. Batman goes with Gordon into Mitchell's garage to find a car that had been broken into and contains a flash drive, along with Mitchell's severed thumb. Together they find incriminating photos of the Penguin, Carmine Falcone's right hand, and the Mayor Mitchell with a woman outside a club called the Iceberg Lounge. Later on that day, Batman goes to the club to speak to the Penguin. 2 guards try to stop him from coming in, but Batman knocks them out and then fights his way through a slew of goons before meeting the Penguin. He questions him about Mitchell and the woman, but the mobster claims that he knows nothing. During his conversation, Batman notices a young woman named Selina Kyle working at the club and seems like she knows the woman in the picture. Bruce keeps an eye on Selina as she returns to her apartment that shares it with Annika, the woman Batman was looking for. They were watching the news that shows Annika in pictures with Mitchell. Those pictures were leaked after Batman and Gordon opened the files. After Annika goes to bed, Selina sneaks out as Catwoman and rides her motorcycle. Bruce, who was spying, follows her. She goes to Mitchell's apartment, which is now a closed-off crime scene. After that, she cracked Mitchell's safe and took a passport. Suddenly Batman show up and a fight followed, but Batman was too strong and managed to take the passport that belonged to Annika. Batman thought that Selina was the killer, but she said, "You got the wrong idea. I didn't kill anybody. I'm just here to help my friend Annika because Mitchell stole her passport and she is trying to get out of here." Then they both go back to Selina's apartment, but they find it ransacked with Annika missing. Furthermore, they see a news report saying that the Riddler has killed Commissioner Pete Savage, along with a viral video sent by him saying that Mitchell and Savage were not good men as everyone had been led to believe. He has Savage hooked to a device where 2 rats will gnaw at him to death. He also states that he will continue the killing until the city finally reveals its true face. While Batman and Gordon were looking into Savage's death, they find more incriminating photos, this time showing Savage working with a drug dealer. They find another message for Batman, along with another riddle and cipher, reading El Rata Alata, the winged rat. The Riddler said, "Follow the maze until you find the rat. Bring him into the light, and you'll find where I'm at." Batman gets Selina to go into the 44 Below, the deeper, more exclusive club within the Iceberg Lounge. He gives her camera contact lenses to use so that he can see what she sees inside the place. They find several city officials or guests with criminal ties, including District Attorney Gil Colson, who talks about a rat within the department that is being protected, while another woman there mentions Annika. Selina follows her to get more information, but she didn't learn anything more. Selina ends up running into the Penguin, as well as the crime boss Carmine Falcone, who already knows Selina from previous encounters. But earlier she told Batman that she don't know him, and when he asks her why she lied, Selina get angry and takes off the contact lenses and told him that she cannot continue. She left the club and Colson follows her. He offers her a ride, but she refuses and takes a taxi instead. Then he goes back to his car and got surprised by the Riddler, who was hiding there. The Riddler knocks him out and then places a bomb around his neck. The next day, Bruce attends Mitchell's funeral, where he runs into the Penguin and Falcone. They later recognize Bruce and note that Thomas Wayne saved his life after had been shot. Inside the church, Bruce hears a man saying that the mayor didn't help his daughter when she need help, so he deserved what happened to him. Meanwhile, a police officer tells Gordon that Colson is missing since yesterday. Suddenly Colson's car crashes into the church. Then he emerges from it with a bomb around his neck, a phone taped to his hand, and another message for Batman. Few minutes later Batman shows up and answers the Riddler's call. Then the Riddler starts a live trial for Colson and gives him the chance to save his life if he answers the riddles. Batman helps with the riddles, but when the Riddler tells Colson to name the rat in the case against Maroni, he refuses and chooses to die alone because giving up the rat name will put his family's life in danger. Colson blows up, and Batman, who was next to him, knocked back unconscious by the explosion. After that, Batman wakes up in the police station and fights several officers who were trying to take off his mask. But Gordon interferes and calms him down and talks to him privately. Batman tells Gordon that one of the cops in the station, Kenzie, was seen at 44 below and he might be involved in the operation. Then Gordon helps Batman to escape by giving him a key and with a distraction caused by letting Batman punch him in the face. Batman escapes and makes his way to the roof, then he uses his flight suit to escape. He deploys his parachute just before going under a bridge, resulting in him crash landing. Later on that day, Batman meets Gordon and they both believe that the Penguin is the rat, so they follow him to a drug deal where they discovered that Maroni's lab is still producing drugs. Meanwhile, Catwoman arrives on her motorcycle, and after knocking out 2 guards she steals a bag full of money, and then Batman joins her. They both discover Annika's body in the trunk of a car. The Penguin men saw them, and they start shooting at Batman and Gordon. Batman hops in the Batmobile and chases the Penguin through the streets, while Selina steals the money bag from Kenzie. The Penguin causes a major accident to shake Batman off. When the Penguin thought he has successfully escaped from Batman, the Batmobile comes bursting out of the flames and causes the Penguin to crash his car. Batman and Gordon interrogate him, but the Penguin insists he is not the rat, and when they show him the Riddler's message he said, "Look at you two, the world's greatest detectives, can't even understand Spanish." At this moment Batman figures out that the message was a website address. He logs in and exchanges messages with the Riddler, who leads them to the abandoned orphanage for their next clue, to find the biggest piece of the puzzle. Then the two leave the Penguin handcuffed before they drive off. In the orphanage, Batman and Gordon find a projector that shows campaign footage of Thomas Wayne's run for mayor. At this moment they realize that Bruce Wayne is the next target. Batman races back home trying to contact Alfred, but their housekeeper Dory informs Bruce that Alfred has been injured after opening a package that was sent to you. The package contains another message for Batman and a C4 explosive. Bruce Wayne goes back home and starts solving the puzzle by putting all the evidence together. Then he meets with Selina and asks her about her connection to Falcone. She admits that she is his biological daughter. Her mother Maria worked at the same club and was murdered, and Falcone never assumed custody of her, so she wants to steal from him and get what he owes her. After that, a viral video from the Riddler reveals that there is a dark history between the Wayne and Arkham families. A reporter had been trying to do an expose on Martha Wayne over her years in and out of the Arkham asylums while seeking psychiatric help. Allegedly, Thomas didn't want this scandal to spread before the election, so he asked Falcone to handle the reporter, and Falcone killed the man, leading everyone to believe that Thomas was responsible for his death. Later on that day, Bruce goes to the club to speak to Falcone to get answers to all his questions. Falcone acknowledges the news about the reporter, but he merely tells Bruce that his father had asked him to take care of the reporter, but things escalated. Falcone also reveals that Maroni might be the one who orders the killing of his parents. Then Bruce visits Alfred in the hospital and confronts him over what his father did. Alfred insists that Thomas really was a good man and that he was appalled by what happened to the reporter. Alfred also suggests that Falcone was the one who put a hit on the Waynes because Thomas had felt guilty about the murder and he was going to confess to the police, but he got killed that night. Just as Bruce appears to forgive Alfred, they see the bat signal shining in the sky. Batman and Gordon find Selina having apprehended Kenzie, wanting to kill him as payback for Annika. Batman stops her from shooting him, then she plays a recording from the scene of Annika's murder, where she is heard talking to Falcone, who asks her about what Mitchell told her. Annika reveals that the mayor made a deal with Falcone, which means he was the rat. Kenzie admits that almost everyone in the renewal program, including the Riddler's victims, works for Falcone, as he has many people under his thumb. Because after Thomas Wayne died, they all went after the renewal fund. It was perfect for taking bribes and laundering money, but Falcone wanted more, so he orchestrated a play to take Maroni down by ratting out his drugs operation. After that, Falcone installs his puppets in the government to control everything, so Falcone is the real mayor. Selina gets angry and kicks Kenzie over the ledge, but Batman and Gordon catch him, letting her get away. Selina goes to the Iceberg Lounge to kill Falcone herself. Batman heads there as well to arrest him, while Gordon sends Annika recording to the news to expose Falcone. Selina tries to shoot him, but the light goes off, and he escapes. Then she follows him, but Falcone surprised her with a hit and tries to kill her. Before he does so, Batman steps in and punches Falcone in the face, and then stops Selina from killing him. Gordon takes Falcone in to be arrested, but the mobster takes a moment to insult the Penguin, who pulls out a gun, but someone else fires a shot and kills Falcone. At this moment, Batman remembers the Riddler quote, "Bring him into the light, and you'll find where I'm at." Then he looks up to find the Riddler in his apartment window. The cops and Batman run up to the apartment, but find it empty. Then they receive a tip from someone who saw the Riddler using the fire escape, and that he is now sitting in a diner. The cops find and arrest him there without much of a fuss. The authorities learn that the Riddler's real name is Edward Nashton, and that he is an accountant. Then he is locked up at Arkham Asylum. Batman goes to speak to the Riddler, who talks about how he envied Bruce Wayne for the attention he received, since Nashton was also an orphan who endured a less privileged childhood than Bruce did. He believes Batman is on his side, but Batman tells him you are wrong. Then the Riddler alludes to his last plan that Batman failed to find out about. Batman goes back to the Riddler's apartment and works with another cop to find the password to an encrypted video. It features the Riddler addressing his followers and talking about his big plan to destroy the seawalls around Gotham Harbor and flood the city on election night, where Real will be elected mayor. He had also invited his many followers to join in the crime. Soon, explosions are heard, and the city quickly begins to fill with water. The authorities make attempts to gather people to higher ground since evacuation is impossible. Crowds gather at Gotham Square Garden, but the Riddler's followers show up armed, and one of them shoots Real in the arm, but Gordon manages to protect her. Batman comes in and fights the thugs, while Selina shows up and helps. The water hits the building and begins to flood the place. Batman grabs a flare and begins leading people to safety. After that, most of the city is underwater, and criminals like the Penguin start engaging in a power struggle. Batman is viewed as a hero for his rescue efforts, and he makes a personal vow to be better and less driven by vengeance. The Riddler weeps as he sees the news about how his plan turned out, but his cellmate tells him to cheer up and offers to be his friend knowing they can put their talents to good use. The inmate then starts to let out a familiar maniacal laugh. In the last scene of the movie, Batman meets with Selina, who is planning to drive upstate and leave Gotham. The two part ways and ride their motorcycles away, but Batman looks back at her one more time before returning home. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, put a like and share it. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more. Have a great day.